Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Crystal, and in this video, I'm planning to do a chatty planner slash journal video. Anyway, if you've been on this channel before, you'd know that I've been trying to be active in producing content back when the year started. So January, February, I was rolling out videos about my techo kaigi and how I set up my traveler's notebook, all those stuff. And just when somewhere along the way, I got into a journaling slump. So since March, I haven't really been writing in my journals. I haven't really been updating my journals. So there wasn't a point in also rolling out content because my journals were empty to begin with. But anyway, sometime in May or July, I was feeling inspired again. So now, since that time, I have been back and updating my journals. So I'm just gonna take this video as some sort of Q4 techo kaigi just to update on what's new, what's been discarded, and how is my journaling and planning habit so far. So without further ado, let's begin. So let's start with the planners and journals that I'm no longer using. And this is the pile. So the one that I immediately realized wasn't for me was this planner S from a South Korean brand called Iconic. And I guess I only have myself to blame for this one because this was really just an impulse buy. And in my techo kaigi, I explained that I wanted this to be my 3D journal. And by 3D, I mean dawn, dusk, and dream journal. And for dawn, what I really mean is something equivalent to morning pages. For dusk, it's more of a gratitude journaling type where before I sleep or when I'm winding down at night, I just list the good things that happened that day, and it's really been an effective habit in helping me fall asleep easier. And dream is basically just a dream log because I'm fascinated with dreams, and when I do remember my dreams, I want to log them. So this is how it looks like. It starts with the monthlies and it proceeds with the weekly format. And I was really drawn to it because I thought it was gonna be the same size as a Hobonichi Weeks, but apparently it's shorter and a bit wider. So the format is like this, and I thought I wanted a vertical like cube format because I don't know what I was thinking. But as soon as I started logging things, I just realized that it wasn't enough space. So this was the first week of January, and I really tried to fit everything in one. But if I dream like a very long dream and a lot of things, a lot of good things happened that day, so it's not really like conducive because the space is very limited, and trying to fit everything did not work out. So this was the first week, and then I tried again for the second week, and basically I just lost interest eventually. So I didn't even last until the end of the month. So sadly, this was a bust. And it's also a lesson for me that never never impulse buy, because it's such a waste of space. Although I can just use this as a notebook for later, because I do love the cream color, and it has this, you can actually remove this and then make the planner just like that. So it's a pretty nifty thing. Although for fountain pen users, I don't think this is the journal for you, because it doesn't sit well with the fountain pens. So that's something that I'm no longer using. And then another thing that I talked about in my techo kaigi was using my passport size traveler's notebook to house my negativity spill, my note-taking notebook, and my content planner. So I'm no longer using this, because the first thing that really attracted me to this notebook was that it was thick, it had a lot of pages, and it's basically almost the same size as a traveler's notebook passport insert. So I thought it was going to be a good addition to this. But what I really hated about this one is that it doesn't lay flat. So every time I tried to note take, I just didn't love the feel of it. So I just used like a little bit of it. And sadly, I'm not going through with that anymore. And then I also talked about my negativity spill and my techo kaigi, and basically it's just like a bad vibes dump, or it's what in the name, it's a negativity spill. And it really didn't work, because I wasn't just picking it up as frequently, which is a good thing, because it means I don't have a lot of negative feelings to begin with. But I also didn't want to keep it around. I don't know, I just lost interest. Sad, and it's sad because back in 2023, I actually did the same thing with the weekly passport, and I was very successful in writing down my negativity spill. But maybe because it's a change in circumstance, and back then I was working on site, like working at the office, and I had to deal with a lot of people, so maybe I was easily aggravated back then, because now I'm mostly at home and I don't have to deal with people as much. So I'm no longer using this one. And this is my new setup for my traveler's passport, but we'll be talking about this later in my currently used journal. Okay, so my phone stopped recording because it was heating up and it started raining, so the sun went away. So I hope I still get to edit this with a smooth transition, but if there's a big difference in the lighting, that's why. Anyway, the final things that I'm no longer using in my lineup is the Traveler's Notebook Standard inserts. So in my techo kaigi, I said that I'm using the TN monthly and the weekly plus memo combination as my bullet journal. And for a while there, I was really using them as such. So for the monthly, oh, I just loved how I decorated this one. Plus the tabs are so pretty. Anyway, I used the monthly for just an overall appointment like calendar, just how you would use a regular calendar. I used the yearly overview as my steps, which I did back when I was in a Hobonichi weeks. And then this is just how the monthly looks like. So it's just a log of everything. Like, I marked birthdays. Then I would use the icon stickers from the TN sticker sheet for when my husband and I did the groceries or when we went out for dinner. And I just logged other stuff like where I was, if I particularly had to go to an appointment, when I received packages, or if I had to go get a haircut or some grooming like mani-pedis. So basically that's it. It's just a log of everything. Flights. So this one's looking a bit bare because this is the time when I started really getting into a journaling slump. So this is April, and I just had the release of the Tortured Poets department marked in here. Anyway, I tried going back to it, but wasn't really feeling it anymore. Also because later, for the current journals that I'm using, I'll explain why I'm no longer using this as my bullet journal. So for a time there, this was my monthly in my bullet journal. And then the same went for the weekly plus memo duo. So when the year started, so this was the first half. If you're not familiar with the Traveler's Notebook weekly plus memo insert, it's basically like the Hobonichi A6, where the first half of the year is separated from the second half. So that's why I did my tabs like this. So this was from January to June, and then this is for the second half of the year. So I started this one quite nicely because I was really feeling it, and this is the way I actually worked with my Hobonichi weeks before. So I loved the format that the weekly overview is on one side and then there is a note page for the other side, just so I can extend my notes depending on whether a lot of things happened on a particular day or not. So for example, right here, this is January 1, and then I ran out of space, so I extended my notes here. I just label it notes continued or things like that. So I think what really tired me out with this format is this is a planner. So I just write down my tasks here, and I've been so hung up on decorating them, and I think a learning that I've picked up recently is that when it's planners or when it comes to planning, I really don't have to decorate, because when I get my mind into decorating stuff, the pressure just mounts up, and it isn't a functional planner anymore. So you can see here, this is my habit tracker. Sometimes there are weeks that I don't do a habit tracker. There are weeks that I do, and it just depends. I was really also into the color coding stuff, so when I used a purple sticker, the theme would be lilac or lavender. So I was pretty active with it for the first month of for the months of January and February, and then eventually the journaling slump kicked in, and so for the rest of this notebook, it's empty. So there was a time in May where I attempted to go back to it again, but then nope, it stopped. And then for the second half, I think it was back in July when I found some energy to pick up my journals and planners again. So I started noting just stuff, so it wasn't really that decorated. And then I tried it again, can see here that there was an attempt made and then it was empty again. So I really tried, but then this is the part I think when I realized that it's not working out. So I basically just used the other pages to plan what I'm gonna do and how I'm gonna downsize my bullet journal. So this one is actually my planning stage, like deciding what do I usually do for my monthlies, what do I record for my monthly. So I think you can see that. Anyway, for my monthlies, I just tried what goes on in each. So I just wrote schedule, appointments, important dates, deadlines, birthdays, anniversaries. And for the weeklies, I track my habits, my meals, and my expenses. Just a planning stage. I was even practicing some lettering. I really wanted to. And then some format. Because I was already thinking of the replacement notebook to this. So you'll see that in a bit. But I just used the remaining pages for my planning. So when Hobonichi launched the 2025 lineup, I was just trying to justify a lot of what I wanted to use. So here you can see in my wish list, I wanted the mother cover in the Hon A5 and then the week's mother cover. And then I also was looking into the pistachio, then the Liberty Fabrics Paysan Blossom. I wrote bloom, but it's actually Paysan Blossom in the Hon A6. And that's just it. So as of now, I've stopped using this. But I'm gonna show you the replacement that I did in a bit. So those are the journals that I'm no longer, planners and journals that I'm no longer using. Finally, we're moving on to the current planners and journals that I'm using. So this is the pile. And let's start with this Traveler's Passport in Olive, which is my current EDC and bullet journal. So when I mentioned earlier that I plan to downsize my regular monthly and weekly memo TN, I replaced it with the field notes because I actually had a bunch of these from the National Park series and I love the covers. So at first I really thought that I really wanted to be precious with this and I didn't want to ruin them, but lately I realized that the only thing to ruin stationery or a good or a pretty notebook is by not using them at all. So I really wanted to make use of it, and that's why I decided to downsize in the field notes. Also, it's a pocket size, so it can fit the Traveler's Passport with a little overhang. And I know some people are bothered by that, but I don't really mind, so I'm okay with it. But the only thing that I didn't like was that the pages the book was stapled, so I removed the staples and sewn the notebook myself, just so it lays flat, at least, when I wrote in it. So when I decided to downsize, sometime near the end of August, I just went ahead and started this one. So I just used the first page as a key, and I did it in this memo note just to combat the fear of the first blank page or something. So this is how my key looks like. It's very far from the original bullet journal method by Ryder Carroll, but this is the system that actually works for me, so I did it like that. And then after, I just went ahead and did my dailies. So everything is just like this. And I just used a mild liner to highlight the date, just so there's a separation of the header. But otherwise, that's the only color in there. And it's pretty straightforward, and I'm loving it because I'm just writing all the to-dos and tasks for that day, and what I just make a note of anything that is notable. So I'm loving it so far, and really loved it that I actually finished the whole notebook. So I completed this one, and just in time for September 30. So this was the last day of September, and since I still have this one leaf, I just wrote a wish list of what I wanted for 2025. That's so after completing this one, I was really feeling confident that I'm more comfortable with this. So I continued it this October. So now we dive into what's inside my traveler's passport. So as I've mentioned, this is my everyday carry. So I only have 2 notebooks in here, as well as some stickers and this sticker book. So let's just start with everything that's loose in here. So I have the plastic envelope insert for my ephemera. So I just put all the ephemera that I have here, or those that I plan on using eventually. And I also have the kraft folder insert just to house the 2024 guide for the Traveler's Notebook, which was Traveler's Town, and then the Traveler's Town pencil board, which I really love because I'm a major green lover. Anyway, I also have my stickers here. So these are usually what I use for my memory keeping journal, but I keep them here anyway just so I can reach for them easily. And this is also a sticker notebook. This is the passport sticker release paper insert, also from Traveler's Factory. So I just transferred a lot of my stickers here, just so I have access to it easily. And then I also have my content planner, which in my techo kaigi was still my content planner. So I actually started it in January. As I've said, I've been really active at the beginning of the year in producing content. So I just use this as marking the dates when I posted. Then sometimes when I do have plans on when to film or when to edit, I put them on the date. So for example, I was planning to film on the 16th, but I didn't get to it. So that was why it was canceled. And then just below, I'm just writing all the content lineup that I'm considering. Not really concrete plans, but when I do want to, when I have an idea, I just write them down here. And that went on until February. Sadly, that's when my journaling slump kicked in, and I really wanted to post a lot of Korea vlogs because we went to Korea and Japan last October 2023, and we really had a lot of content. My husband and I filmed a lot during those times. So I wanted to produce videos from those, but we really didn't get to it because this was also the time when we went to Singapore for the Air Store. So after coming back, we we didn't have the time to edit, or we didn't even have the heart to make it. So that's why these are empty. So this is the time when my journaling slump kicked in, and since the journals were empty, no point in making content out of them. And then back in September, I was dedicated to make an IG post again, so I did. And now we're in October. I'm filming this video, but I've only posted one video so far, which was my Hobonichi collection through the years. So I'm really hoping that I get to make more content, spend more time with my journals, because I realized I really have fun when making these and talking about these, just because I don't have a lot of planner friends in real life, and making these videos, even though I'm really just a small channel, is fun and I enjoy it, especially if some people do comment on my videos, because I love the curiosity and I just love having someone to converse with about planners and journals. So completing my traveler's notebook setup / everyday carry is my latest field notes, which serves as my bullet journal. And this is just a continuation of what I started on this one. So since I used this notebook for the last weeks of August until September 30, I am starting the fresh month here on my next field notes. And I'm planning to make a separate dedicated video on how I bullet journal on this pocket notebook, so I won't be delving much into it. But what you should know is, first, I covered it with this handmade / makeshift plastic cover because I have very sweaty palms and I'm scared that I'll blot the print on the cover. So my husband helped me with this. And I also didn't like that the book was stapled. So just like what I did with the previous one, I also customized this and have sewn it myself. So there's that. It's also easier to write with because it lays flat, because I used the chain stitch on this one. Anyway, so the contents of this is really just a straightforward bullet journal, and it's more focused on the dailies. So I do start it with the key, which is like a staple in bullet journals, but it's practically the same with my previous field notes. Then I have a monthly overview with a calendar on the side and the appointments and events on the right. Then it proceeds with the dailies. And then I also tried to do weeklies for this one. So just like a Hobonichi Weeks or a Traveler's weekly memo. So the dates or the weekly overview is on one side, and then I used the other side as a habit tracker, and I also used a sleep tracker below it. And that's it so far for this one. So this completes my traveler's passprt setup and everyday carry. So on the topic of traveler's notebooks, I have my beloved one and only traveler's notebook regular, or standard, and it's in the camel color. So I've had this one since 2020 and I love it so much. It basically always stays in my rotation every year because it has a lot of uses. So at the beginning of the year in my techo kaigi, and as mentioned earlier, the original setup was this traveler's standard housed my bullet journal. So since I transferred to the field notes, I'm no longer using these on the rotation. So the traveler's notebook standard is actually housing my stickers, and it's basically just a storage unit for all the stickers and stationery that I have. So it has this plastic envelope insert. On this side, I just have the different sheets from the traveler's notebook sticker sheets. So since I have extras from the previous year, I just continue to use them, especially with things that easily run out, like the carts. So there's that. I put it here. This is the dot sticker sheets. And then I also have this kraft file folder. So it just houses more sticker sheets. This is the Traveler's Notebook 2024 guide for the Traveler's Town. A very random Polaroid of Lee Dong-wook, which my husband is very aware of. And then I have more of the leftover stickers. I actually didn't use this one. I really would want to, but I still haven't figured out where I'd use it. So maybe for future journals, I'm gonna be allocating some of these. I have some extras. This is actually from the Traveler's Cafe or 2023 sticker sheet. So I have extras. I didn't use the tabs one because I ordered a separate tabs from a local artist here in the Philippines, and I preferred these tabs anyway. So, and more of the dot stickers, the transfer print-on ones, and the pencil board for this year, which I frequently use. So all of these are just housed here. And then finally, the only insert that is in here for now is this Traveler's Notebook insert for the card file. So what this really is just, I want to make this as an album for all the Polaroids that I'll gather through the year. So this is just a Polaroid of my husband and I for the 2022 New Year celebration. Then these are our Polaroids from earlier this year. And temporarily, I also placed a lot of my stickers here because I just love that I can get to everything in one place. So there are some Mean Girls sticker themes, and then some very random stuff from my sticker packs that I hoarded over the years. I also have these like Mindwave themed stickers. They are all just loose because I haven't had the time to file them or put them in the sticker notebook insert. So for now, they are all just loose like this. And I really love these vintage stickers, but they're too huge to be placed in the card slot, so I just have them like this. Hopefully I get to organize them soon. But yeah, this is the main purpose of my Traveler's Standard. And Riverdale, Avengers, Lucifer, some Stranger Things, How I Met Your Mother, Brooklyn Nine-Nine themed stickers, more Stranger Things, Mean Girls, The Big Bang Theory, Money Heist. I got a lot of those. Pop culture, Black Mirror, and Game of Thrones. So some of you may think this is a waste, but because it's just serving as a sticker storage, but it's really working for me because I want everything to be in the same place. And I think I'm considering this like how you would use a travel suitcase, because when you're not traveling, the travel suitcase just stays at home, and maybe it can serve as another form of storage. So you store some clothes there that you're not using for the season or something like that. And when I'm not traveling, this is how my Traveler's Notebook Standard works. But also when I travel, I like to bring this one because this also holds my travel files like documents, visas, and other stuff that I bring. So I'm loving this setup for me. Another thing that remained consistent in my journal lineup is this Hobonichi A6 Weekly Supplement, and I'm using this as a media time tracker. So this is how it looks like. It's just very plain, colored green. So I decided to use this Eleanor Shellstrop sticker from my sticker pack of The Good Place. And what this is just really an overview of all the times that I consume media, like play games, watch series, watch movies, read or listen to books. So this is what it looks like. And what I like about this is it gives me an overview of the time that I consume in watching TV and reading or playing games. So at the very first month, so for the whole of January, I was very consistent with this. And what I did was I would just write everything in pen. And then when the week was over, that's when I would put the stickers, just so I don't get or I don't take from the space. So that's why these stickers are very strategically placed, because it's only after the week is filled in that I decorate. Anyway, February, I was already like losing interest in decorating it, and I just wanted it to be straightforward. And then by the time the last weeks of February rolled around, this was the time when we were preparing for our trip to Singapore, so we were kind of busy. And then by March, that's when the journaling slump kicked in. So I haven't been using this. So although I still watched movies and series or read some books, I wasn't taking note of them here. And it just shows because a lot of these months are blank. And from time to time I would try again, but then immediately lose interest. So this was May. That was like a period of time when I tried again, and then I'd stop. So June, it's still blank. I really got back to it when August rolled around, because in my memory keeping journal, I actually returned to journaling sometime around the second week of July, but I kind of forgot about this, and I only picked it back up in August. So from then, I was becoming very consistent again. However, I didn't bother to decorate it because I just loved the look of it being just writing and stuff. So far, that is the update with this one. I've been consistent again, and I'm loving it. This is the current week. I'm filming this on the 18th, so I actually haven't filled this out yet, but I will. Another journal that's in my current lineup is this A6 notebook in a Hobonichi Koshinso cover by Tomitaro Makino. So I've had this cover since 2023 because I bought this during the time of the spring 2023 release. And what's inside is this Midori MD blank notebook. So this serves as my combined media / commonplace journal. And it's pretty straightforward. I'm loving that this isn't dated, so I have freedom in using it. So there's not much pressure to fill this in every day. It's just when I feel like it. So what I have here is just a review of the media or content that I consume. So for example, my husband and I welcomed the new year by watching a Friends episode, the one with the monkey. So this was a New Year's episode, and we just picked that one up for the theme. Then I just have all the series that I've watched, some games that I play, and there's really not much format to it. I just stick a photo and write what I thought about it, or for example, with this audiobook by Catherine Center for Hello Stranger, I actually noted a lot of things that I liked in the book. So I just wrote some of the quotes that I wanted to remember for later. We also watched some of these series and movies. Just a dedicated journaling spread for Taylor Swift debut, and clowning for the release of Taylor's version. And it's very straightforward. I wanted just to remember that for example, I listened to this audiobook and then what my thoughts on it are. So mostly this has been a media journal more than a commonplace. We rewatched The Good Place this year. And then I also rewatched Gossip Girl because I actually never have seen the whole thing before. So I finally finished the series this year. And a very unpopular opinion, but I loved Dare. Watch another movie, listen to this audiobook. So what happened with this one is I already printed a bunch of these photos of the media that I watched or read, but then I didn't fill them in. So I filled them in later. So when I already pasted the photos, I did not anticipate that I had a lot of notes for Hello Stranger. So I just put here that the rest to be continued down the pages. That's why this is a continuation of the Hello Stranger page. So basically, it's just a lot of quotes and my thoughts on it. For example, this is the part that made me cry, all those things. So this is one teeny tiny page of commonplacing that I was just very curious about the Bureau of Immigration. So I took a lot of notes about it. And then just some stickers. So far that's it. And I'm planning to... The good thing about this is that even if 2024 ends and I'm still not done with the notebook, I can still continue to use this into 2025. So nothing is wasted. And I just use this Tomitaro Makino pencil board just to pair it with this one. So that's it for my commonplace / media journal. Finally, the main star of my journaling lineup, and one that I'm glad I really stuck with, is my memory keeping journal. And I do this on this A6 Hobonichi A6 in the Liberty Fabrics Emma and Georgina cover. So this is how it looks like now. It's getting very thick, and I really love it because it just shows an overview of my year. So as you can see, wait, I don't know if that's very obvious, but you can see that some of the pages here in between, I don't know if you can see, but hopefully you can, but some of the pages in between, the darker ones, is really white because that's the time when I had my journaling slump. So I'm loving how this is getting very thick as the year progresses. And let's just take a look inside. So I just have a sticker here, and I love using this. These are the paper clip stickers from Vince Art Studio. So this is what I used for my key in the bullet journal ones. This one. So anyway, this is like the main journal because I journal mainly for memory keeping. So this is something that I'd love to archive and look back on later. So for the tour, so in my previous videos, I've already explained this, but what I'm using the yearly overview for is my Wordle staircase. So my husband and I play Wordle every day, and I just love that all the boxes, since Wordles are 5-letter words, so I just love the consistency that I can turn them into this staircase type. So I've been very consistent with that one because I also screenshot my Wordle result every day. So even if I miss a few days writing directly here, I can just refer back to my screenshots later on and fill them in. So far I'm very updated. Today is the 18th and we haven't played Wordle yet, so it's still blank. But it's very nice, especially now that we're in the 10th month. So what happened with this one is I really planned to do it like this. So this is the first quarter. So everything starts like here. But later I wanted it to be like this. So when it ends in like this, I wanted to continue it on the 4th box. Just how if like they're connected. That's why these months differ where they begin. And then for my monthlies, I decided to make doodles. So the monthlies are dedicated for daily doodles. So January, I colored them in, but I figured that the mild liners kind of bleed depending on the color. So, I mean, it's not really bleeding, but I didn't want to affect the other pages. So I decided from February that I'll just do them in ink. And then the journaling slump kicked in. So the monthlies from March until June, they're all blank. And then I returned to it in July. And so far, I am being consistent with them again. So we're currently in this month. I haven't done today's doodle yet. Then the dailies. So I actually have flipped through videos of the earlier months, so I'll just breeze past those. So January and February, I was very consistent. I didn't miss a day. So let's just skip through that. And then the journaling slump kicked in March. So these are blank, mostly blank. Although from time to time, I would have some ephemera to put. But mostly, this is what a journaling slump looks like. So it's just months and months of blank pages. And for a time there, I really thought that, so if I do have ephemera, I stick them, but I didn't even have the time to write anything. This one, another ephemera. And for a time there, I really thought that I was gonna give up with this journal, but I realized that I didn't want to. So this is just a very dedicated page for the release of Tortured Poets Department. Wait, this is bothering me. So this is a dedicated page for the release of TTPD. And since my friend gave me a sticker sheet of TTPD for my birthday, I just backfilled this one. But it's mostly like this. There was an attempt back in May of trying to go back to journaling, but then I stopped again. Some random ephemera. And it's just as someone who wants every journal filled in, it was really difficult for me to accept that all these pages were blank. But then I realized that this is a memory keeping journal, so it's basically like an overview of my whole year. And I realized that I wanted to keep it this way. So even though the pages are blank, later when I decide to look back on this year and pick this up, I'll just have I just know that there was a period in my life where I was feeling a lot of emotions that really put me in a journaling slump, and that's just an honest look at it. So I decided I'll just leave it that way and start again. So this was the second week of July, and I had the energy to go back to journaling again. So as you can see, the journal pages are coming back alive. and I'm loving it. So since July, I've been consistent with journaling again, and that really makes me happy. So just some ideas of filling in your journal pages. So for example, I'd think that there really hasn't many things that happened on my day on July 26th. So that's why I instead noted a post from Balance. So Balance, if you don't know, is an app that's dedicated for meditation. So it's like an equivalent of apps like Headspace or Calm. And I love following their IG because aside from being a user of the app, I also love their posts. So one of the posts that they had for this day was really resonating with me, and it's called a self-care menu. Just a little change in the setup because I'm running out of natural light, so I had to turn on the overhead light of this tripod. So I'll just edit it to be brighter, but there are shadows. So anyway, the post from Balance is called the self-care menu, and I really thought that that's something that I would want to remember for later, so I just copied it the way that I wanted to on my journal. Sometimes I also write quotes. This is when we watched Deadpool and Wolverine. And this is my August cover page, which I really love. So it really depends on the mood. Sometimes I write about a particular thing that really happened that day, but if it's quite a mundane day, I just write some quotes that I came across, paste some stickers, things like that. Sometimes it's just text. I don't have the mood to put the stickers, and I still love it that way. This was when Short and Sweet by Sabrina Carpenter dropped, and I just loved that I had this burn book sticker from my Mean Girls sticker pack. This was when we started the series Fresh Off the Boat, so I just copied the poster. This is my September cover page, which I also really love. So it just says create, document, start again, and for all the moments you are about to live. Another thing that I saw on Instagram, which I really thought was funny. This is actually one of my favorite journal pages because I saw a book cover reveal from Dotton Books, and it was for a book called Main Characters by Hannah Orenstein, and that cover just really resonated with me, and I had the urge to paint it, so I did. I still look back on this from time to time, and it's really pretty. It just brings me joy. The cover, not really that proud of my painting, but I love how this turned out. This was supposed to be a self-portrait. This was my attempted sketch of Harrison Ford because we watched that movie, Air Force One. Sometimes I also put a lot of ephemera. So when my sister-in-law came back from her trip from Japan, she gave us this Kit Kat pack, and I just keep the packaging. Sometimes this was when I really didn't have much to write. So September 21 is Stephen King's birthday, so I just wrote happy birthday Stephen King, and I just listed the favorite reads of mine from him. This was also when I finished this chamomile tea box, so I put the ephemera here because the inside was actually really pretty, so I kept it. Then we move on to October, and this was the cover page. So since it's Halloween month, I just used my Stranger Things sticker, and then this is so cute. These are cats, and they're in some sort of seance or something. Sometimes I just write words for the day because I use this app called Elevate, and there is a word for the day every day. So if I don't have anything to write for that day, I just letter the word for the day. And that's it so far. So we're here on the current day, and I haven't journaled anything for today yet. But that's it for all the current and past journals for my Q4 techo kaigi. So if you've reached this very far in the video, I think this is a very long video. Thank you for sticking around, and I hope you can leave a comment on what you thought about all of the things that I talked about here. Thank you, and see you again in my next video. Bye!